Word of the day is Votebank. And we're not talking about Indian elections or what happened in Haryana. We are talking about what is happening in Canada. Is it possible that for vote bank politics, any country would not just sabotage but practically incinerate its relations with another sovereign nation? That is the allegation made by the Indian government about Justin Trudeau's politics and the current Canadian government's attitude towards India. What has happened since the 14th of October has taken relations between the two countries to an unprecedented low. But what is the vote bank angle to what Justin Trudeau has done? Let's start by telling you what all did happen on Monday. Late on Monday evening, India summoned the Canadian Charge d'Affaires, Stuart Wheeler, to the Ministry of External Affairs. Soon after, India announced that it is withdrawing its High Commissioner and other targeted diplomats and officials from Canada and followed it up by expelling 6 Canadian diplomats from India, including Mr. Wheeler, the Deputy High Commissioner and 4 First Secretaries. A statement by the External Affairs Ministry said that the Canadian Charge d'Affaires was informed that the baseless targeting of the Indian High Commissioner and other diplomats in Canada was completely unacceptable. In an atmosphere of extremism and violence, the Trudeau government's actions endangered their safety and that India has no faith in the current Canadian government's commitment to ensure that the Indian diplomats in Canada stay safe. By the way, minutes before the statement from India, the Khalistan extremist group Sikhs for Justice released yet another graphic threat video against the Indian High Commissioner to Canada. The video shows Sanjay Kumar Verma's picture being pumped with bullets and him being burnt in effigy like Ravan. And this entire diplomatic escalation took less than 12 hours to go from chilly to ice cold. It started with a statement that India made on Monday afternoon, where they said, "We've received a diplomatic communication from Canada on the 13th of October that suggests the Indian High Commissioner and other diplomats are persons of interest in a matter related to an investigation." The statement doesn't mention which matter is being referred to, but it's quite clear the probe into the killing of pro-Khalistan extremist Hardeep Nijjar. Later in the afternoon, the Indian government followed up its denial with a more detailed response in language that can only be called verbal evisceration. In its response to the diplomatic communication from Canada, the MEA said, and I quote, "The government of India strongly rejects these preposterous imputations and ascribes them to the political agenda of the Trudeau government that is centered around vote bank politics." The statement continues, "The Trudeau government has consciously provided space to violent extremists and terrorists to harass, threaten and intimidate Indian diplomats and community leaders." And finally says that the aspersions cast on the Indian High Commissioner by the Government of Canada are ludicrous and deserve to be treated with contempt. Note the language. Twice in India's statement, the word vote bank has been used. Rarely ever heard. Language that is rarely ever heard in diplomatic circles where the Trudeau dispensation is clearly accused of using diplomacy for narrow domestic political gains. So what is this vote bank politics that the MEA and the Indian government referred to? To put it simply, Trudeau is in deep trouble back home. His government is accused of being unable to check rising inflation, unchecked immigration, unaffordable housing, and vanishing jobs. After Jagmeet Singh's NDP withdrew support, the government itself is a lame duck. To top it all, reports suggest that 20 MPs within Justin Trudeau's own Liberal Party have signed a pact to oust him because of his growing unpopularity. And maybe for good reason. Because the Canadian PM's approval ratings have nosedived in just the last 1 year. They have gone from 50% to 30%. The percentage of people, conversely, who disapprove of Justin Trudeau has gone from 39% in September 2023 to a whopping 65% at the same time this year. More than half of the Canadians don't want Justin Trudeau. At the same time, the main opposition party, the Conservatives, have taken a 20 percentage point lead over Trudeau's Liberals. It doesn't help Mr. Trudeau that while even his BFF, Jagmeet Singh, has dumped him recently, his main rival, Pierre Poilievre, is actively wooing the Canadian Hindu voters, regularly participating in their festivals most recently at Navratri and Dussehra. It must be remembered that while Sikhs make up 1.9% of the total population of Canada, Hindus make up 2.1%. For long, Justin Trudeau has reached out to and banked on the extremist section within this sizable Sikh population. A constituency that, by the way, Jagmeet Singh and his NDP also nurtured. The two came together in 2021 when Trudeau's Liberal Party was voted back to power for a third consecutive term, but short of the halfway mark. Trudeau needed the magic mark of 169 but managed to get only 154 of the total 338 seats in Parliament. The result? He forged an alliance with the NDP, which has 24 MPs, on the basis of a confidence and supply agreement. The world knows what the views of NDP's Jagmeet Singh are on India and especially on extremist Khalistan elements in Canada. With even that union now being over, Jagmeet Singh pulled out, remember? Trudeau would want that at least he keeps that Sikh support with or without the NDP. Sikh voters have had a long and rich political history in Canada. The first turbaned Sikh was elected to Canada's Parliament in 1993. In 2023, that number has grown to 15, making up 4.3% of the House of Commons. 12 of these 15 Sikh MPs are from Trudeau's party and 2 are from the main opposition. Trudeau also has 2 Sikhs in his cabinet. Strangely, the brand of politics practiced by Jagmeet Singh and favoured by Justin Trudeau seems to believe that to get the confidence of the Sikh voters, they need to take a pro-Khalistan and anti-India stand, which may appeal to a few radicals in the community, but definitely not the entire Sikh community. It's a disservice to the rich Sikh community in Canada to assume that all of them are in favour of this pro-Khalistan separatist sentiment. And that is borne out by the latest numbers of the survey that was conducted by the not-for-profit Angus Reid Institute. The survey says that Trudeau's party enjoys the support of only 21% of the Sikhs and 22% of the Hindus. In contrast, the Sikh support for Conservatives, the opposition to Justin Trudeau, is at a whopping 54% and 53% among the Hindu voters. In fact, the opposition Conservatives lead in vote intention among decided and leading Canadian Christian, Hindu, Jewish, and Sikh voters, and even those who do not conform to any religious identity. So here's the big picture. Justin Trudeau's popularity is dwindling, his allies are fleeing, his own party members want him gone, and the hearing on the charges of foreign interference in Canadian elections may well prove to be the straw on the camel's back. And that is why perhaps he only has this little vote bank left to pander to. The pro-Khalistan extremist minority within the Sikh community in Canada, and that is the kind of sentiment that now he is reaching out to, and that perhaps explains the aggression against India, which Justin Trudeau hopes is his last gambit.